I want to speak about Paddy Pimblett. I think it's only right that he addresses his connections to this organised crime group, especially with him being very iconic in the city, especially with him having a lot of young lads holding him in an iconic status. You don't really want any young lad looking up to an athlete who's going to fall by the wayside like Till if he doesn't address the situation and clear it up. When you've got your lads looking at Pimblett in the city and Pimblett's with his best mate Zeus, people involved in organised crime groups, regardless of what they do for a living, whether it's UFC, whether it's football, whether it's this, that or the other, shouldn't be allowed to just flaunt around as if they haven't got a care in the world. He needs to address his connection to that organised crime group. He needs to address. He's got to. Within the next month or two, if he does any interviews, or if he goes on his own little podcast, he will raise the situation. Now mightn't be the time. The conviction's in, the sentence is in. But it can work in his favour for his career too. Now, you all know he went quiet. He went quiet, didn't he? He was viral, getting out there, and all of a sudden, he went quiet. He went quiet because of this case and the fact it was his best friend in the dock. That's why he went quiet. If he would have remained in the public eye while all this was coming out, the connection would have been established more thicker, more stronger. He's gone quiet, he's kept away from it. So now when he does address it, it's not as powerful to overturn for his public identity. So he can become what he was going to become a year ago before all this kicked in. Paddy Pimblett. So hopefully he does the manly thing, and he also uses this opportunity to distance himself from any person, doesn't matter, blood or water, who is involved in organised crime groups. And I know it's difficult for him due to his uncle's act, but he's got thousands and thousands of kids looking at him, being inspired, being motivated. If he falls off at the end and reverts back to his teenage ways with his mates and falls back in the way of life because that career's fell off, what's it going to look like? It's like when you've got other fighters and they're iconic and they've got all these kids following, but then they're going to court and they're coming out of court. It just gives kids a mad ideology that, yeah, it's alright if I get nicked, he's been to court. That's the sort of mentality. Years ago, if a sports star was going in and out of court, he'd be suspended, took off this, took off that, until it was all dealt with, wouldn't he? But we can go all over the place, mate. We can start talking about all sorts. Fitzgibbon, on paper, prosecution witness, King's Counsel, say no more. Is there anything wrong with that? No. Is anyone going to say there's something wrong with that? Yeah. Who? The people he's lived in life with. That's all. Don't for 1 minute think that he hasn't conversed with his family about this decision to be a prosecution witness. Don't think for 1 minute he hasn't sat there with uncles, fathers or what and discussed what's the next step in this game of chess. So the bottom line is, on paper, he was King's counsel. But I'll reiterate again, in your dirty up world he's done something wrong. In your world of organised crime groups dealing and gang banging, he's done something wrong. In our world, we want to look after kids, we want to look after our communities, we want to be raising our children in environments where they learn to work and earn what they can get them. He's done all wrong when it comes to that element. Do you understand what I'm saying? And there's thousands and thousands and thousands that don't look at him like that. It's only your little minority groups of criminals. There's not that many of you. You're just the loudest in the community. That's why you see him like everywhere. Choose a life, not a knife. You hear me? There's 700 people watching here. At least 200 of you are in the age category where you've got the opportunity to change. You've got the opportunity to switch your life around. And you should be looking at situations like this, situations like Olivia, situations like all the people that have been took out, young lads in our estates. You should be looking at that as a way of inspiring yourself to turn your back on it, because that's the way it's going. They're not just giving 30s now. They're not giving 18s. They're not giving... Years ago, you were getting 12 years for that crime. Within the period of 20 years, they've trebled it. Do you think it's going to get better? You need to start learning off other people's mistakes. If you're not making mistakes yourself, at least identify mistakes that you could make in the future. It's all part of your preparation. Look at what is happening in front of you and prepare yourself for what's coming. You choose a path. You get on that path. You look down that path. And you can see exactly what's coming when you're walking down that path before you've took the first step. You can see it. If you go down that path there where 5 of your kids off your estate that you know have went down, you can see there's employments, you can see there's children, you can see there's family homes. You can look and you'll see all them lads that you've grew up with that have took that path, living a nice peaceful life, raising the children, not looking over the shoulder, no risk of police, no risk of prison, earning a moderate wage, living a basic life, but you're happy. Walk down that path, what are you looking at? You're looking at rats abusing themselves and then killing people and going to prison. So why are you being daft and blind? Why are you looking down that path? That, yeah, you might get a Rolex down there. That's what entices you into it. That's what the devil does. Entices you in. That's what all they are. All them walking down that path there are behaving like devils.